Oh, hey. Sorry, you kind of caught me in the middle of some thoughts. You know, I haven't really talked about arcade games yet, have I?
And it is a bit difficult to discuss them. Arcades are a dying breed, and you'd be lucky to find one containing the kind of games you'd want to play, let alone talk about. And if you're brave enough to buy an arcade cabinet, they can be pretty expensive and take up a lot of space. And I only know a handful of collectors who actually have at least one of them in their house. And it's often a very common game you can find anywhere that's even been ported to home consoles. It's sad that a lot of these games are lost in obscurity, and unless you delve into the forbidden realm of emulation, you'd be pretty hard-pressed to get decent enough footage.
Lucky for me, I don't have these kind of scruples, so obtaining footage for these kind of games is easy if you can acknowledge the fact that you...
Hey there, youngster! I heard you were going to play an arcade game!
Oh, another interruption. Is this a thing that's gonna happen in these videos, or what?
Did you know that a lot of your favorite home console games started off as arcade games? In fact, Nintendo's famous Donkey Kong was first released in arcades to offset the...
Alright, look, I don't know what you are, whether you're a figment of my imagination, or the essence of some hallucinogenic drug that I've taken without my knowledge, but if you intend to stick around, I hope that you know that I'm gonna be the one that spouts out the factual nonsense, you dig, my pal?
Oh, well, no worries then. I'll just stay back here, along with all the other forgotten ideas.
That was both cryptic and saddening, and I don't know what to think about that. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about is a game series that I've known more than any other video game series growing up, and it's set in space!
Come to think of it, that was a pretty popular subject back then in gaming. But I found out about this particular title had a restaurant, which is the perfect mood setting for the dining experience, I suppose. Enter Namco's Galaga. It's one of those titles you don't recognize by character like Mario, Sonic, or but more recognizable by name alone. Well, that's because there really is no main recognizable hero. You are but a lone space pilot, armed with only a starship, ready to face a galactic swarm of space insects known as the Galaga. Insert, this is a bug hunt line from Aliens or Starship Troopers, blah 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 blah. I mean, look, the instruction manual to the NES game doesn't even give you a proper title. Your ship is literally just fighter. You say sabotage. I say sabotage. It's just interesting to me how such a simplistic idea became such a staple in my memory. Maybe it was the little pixelated space bugs, or the simplistic shape of the white galactic starship, or maybe it's because I'd stare at it for hours watching other kids play it for the high score at Marie Callender's. But this particular arcade game holds a special place in my heart and mind.
So let's dive right in and suit up. It's Galaga time! Let's crunch us some Starbugs! Is that too corny?
Before I continue, I have to note that Galaga is actually a sequel. Yes, a sequel to another Namco game called Galaxian, which, when you come down to it, is basically a Space Invaders clone, in color. Which isn't really a bad thing, it's sort of like an upgrade. Having played Space Invaders compared to this, you do notice a lot of similarities. It's a bit repetitive, your ship is oh so slow, and that so-called music can get a little annoying. And the fact that you can only fire once at a time is a bit tedious. But it's still recognizable, and offers a unique challenge. But the most notable differences between the two is that while Space Invaders has those shields, or houses, or whatever they are, you are left to your own defenses. And man, that makes the game extra challenging.
But let's get back to the game at hand. Galaga. Now that was the original game changer. It took a concept from Galaxian and improved on its flaws. So in a sense, you take a little good from the bad and you come up with a game that everyone can enjoy.
Each stage generally has the same scenario. You are bombarded by an oncoming swarm of antagonistic space bugs, ready and willing to destroy you. They swoop in unannounced in their separate groups, bees, moths, or butterflies, and then I haven't really figured out what kind of insects these are based off of. Maybe some two-legged bark beetles?
In space!
I actually come to find out that these little buggers actually do have names.
Alright, troops. Here's your basic space fighter training. First, you got your Zacho. They may sound like the Lost Animaniac, but the only thing they're maniacal for is stinging your sorry hides. Next level, you got your Go Away. And you'll be wanting to say go away when you meet these little cloth-munching buggers, 'cause they're just escorts. Oh yeah, they're followed by your main target, the boss Galaga. And you best be watching yourselves around these big fellas, 'cause once you face them, your chances of a return are pretty slim.
They may take 2 hits to take down, but they're practically a necessity in this realm. Why? They will beam you up and steal your ship.
Well, okay, alright, hang on, everyone, calm down. It's okay. It's okay. You've been captured. Thankfully, you have an entire fleet at your leisure to rescue your intergalactic POW. If you have enough lives, that is. Which usually amounts to about 2 after that. Why'd I sign up for this?
At any rate, I say this is a necessity because once you get the chance to return your missing Space Fleet member, you are rewarded by having him fight by your side. Usually in these rescue scenarios, you get a thank you and some med pack or whatever, but this? You gotta hand it to the guy. He just brushes off that traumatic experience and says, "I'm with ya, brother. Let's up these bugs together." While you have the advantage to double your firepower, you are a bigger target, but it's ultimately the best prisoner rescue I've seen in a game so far. And after a few waves, you're rewarded by a little challenging stage, where I guess the space bugs have decided to meander about without care, allowing you to shoot them down one by one in a line as they dance about in the stars. But the further you go, the faster and more difficult these bugs get, giving off little surprises here and there and throwing down more kamikaze dive bombers. The point of the game is to just keep going as far as you can, much like Pac-Man, until the kill screen. Then you're screwed.
Galaga has been ported many a times to several systems and has been included in several Namco collection series. While I wish I had a lot of the systems in the games to make comparisons, it's best we move on to its sequels. Let's check out Galaga 3, or as it's better known as, Gapless. Gap. Plus. Gap Plus. What, like a clothing store? Wait, for that matter, shouldn't it be Galaxian 3? Seeing as Galaga is the second one to Galaxian, but whatever.
The third game in the series steps things up a notch. You even get to move around more freely at the bottom. This would seem like an advantage, but it does make you more an open target if you're not good at dodging on the playing field. One of the biggest changes of the game is that you don't just have double the firepower when you save a captured space fighter. You get to capture other space bugs and add them to your own fleet. Yeah, that's right. Get them at their own game. Fight dirty.
After all, when you're trapped within a space bug camp for so long, things like morals and standard procedures start to get a little fuzzy.
Moving along, we venture into deeper space with Galaga 88, the first revamping of the magnificent title. This basically took Galaga and upped it quite a bit. You get your own ship upgraded not only once, but twice, and you actually follow a clear goal, meaning that continues are readily available if you lose all your ships. There are also bosses, collectible items to warp into farther stages, and even an ending. From a safely returned fighter pilot to you, who have fought with me all the way. Huh? Wait, is this lady the fighter pilot I saved, or is she the pilot all along? What are you going to do now? Who's talking, me or her? How about coming to my place this night? From now on, I want to be with you as a man and a woman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough job being a space fighter. But man, are the rewards worth it.
Oh, wait, hang on. Women? Whoa, easy there, Space Casanova. I guess this means that your fighter takes a few romance lessons from Captain Kirk. Galaga 88 got a port onto the TurboGrafx 16 called Galaga 90. I used to think they were different games, but to my surprise, I was glad to know one of my favorite arcade game remakes was ported to a home console that I never owned. A few other games followed Galaga 88, but were more like huge attractions than anything. They were walk-in arcade cabinets called Galaxian 3 and Attack of Zolgear. Two enormous cabinets that were the only ones made with Namco's Theater 6 Laserdisc system. Wait, Galaxian 3? But I thought Gaplus was Galaga 3. So wouldn't that mean Galaga is Galaxian 2? Then what was Galaga 1? It was Galaxian, right?
I would try and say that this is chronologically confusing, Captain. However, I highly doubt there is logical continuity to these games in the first place.
And I wouldn't even exactly consider them Galaga titles by anything other than the name alone, as they were 6-player first-person shooting games, a huge disconnect to the usual fixed shooter realm. Without the name, you wouldn't even connect Galaga to these, and the only port known is in Japan on the PlayStation, and it includes a bonus game called, get this, The Rising of Gorb. Well, if you put the proper amount of yeast, I'm sure it'll rise nicely.
Speaking of PlayStation, there's also a rather obscure title of Galaga called Galaga Destination Earth, which also got a bit of a more traditional port on the Game Boy Color. I say traditionally because, well, the PS1 goes all over the place.
I don't even know what to think. It seems to be traditional at first, then you're shot forward from overhead view to side view to third-person view, and there's no way to know if what you're doing is right. I'm missing targets constantly, I get hit several times, and well, not a whole lot happens. I have to hand it to them in trying to make something as simple as Galaga into a bigger game, but I feel this is a huge disconnect. This is a bit more quote-unquote serious take on the Galaga series. Yeah, much like how Bomberman did it. Am I right? Let's move on. The next title I'd like to talk about is an arrangement version of the game when Namco released its collection series to arcades. You could choose to play either the original version or a remixed game with other little fun advancements that make it original to the first. The game is much more frantic and leaves you little time to react to all the new weird patterns the enemies perform. It keeps you on your toes and is a fun experience, but there's not really that much else to it.
There are ports of this game within the Namco compilations for the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, but with that said, we finally finish our little retrospective of the Galaga series with the last Galaga adventure for the PlayStation Network and Xbox Live 360. It's called Galaga Legions and Galaga Legions DX. And I gotta be honest, I haven't really touched a lot on this game, but you know what the heck. Let's try it right now and see what we got into. I don't know what's going on, but I think we are freaking out. Hey, can somebody help me?
The last boss contract, I must have slipped and fell. I don't think I should go to school today.
Okay, alright, I think, I'm cool? Alright, good. Okay. I think I should take a break from Galaga for a while. Starting to get some war flashbacks there. Anyhow, Anyhow,
Galaga is a fantastic series of games, one of the first most memorable since the beginning of arcade gaming in my opinion, and while there are many versions and several ports to numerous consoles, there's one title in particular I wanted to touch upon.
this particular Galaga clone has its similarities, but it's very different with a lot of fun in its simplicity. It was an arcade title, but got an exclusive Super Famicom port. Considering I have a copy right here in my hands, I think it's safe to say that, yeah, you can play this.
Well, while Galaga isn't necessarily a serious title, this is just one of those things that takes something fun and makes it even more fun. If you've ever played games like Gradius, you'll probably likely to find out that it has a parody-based spin-off series called Parodius. And this is exactly what this is, a parody on an already established series by the creators of the original. This is Cosmo Gang. Oddly enough, Cosmo Gang originated as a redemption game, which is a skill-based, custom-built arcade cabinet that offers tickets for the amount of points you get. You've probably seen them around. They're practically the only kind of arcades available now at Chuck E. Cheese and so on. But what made Cosmo Gang unique is it involved a group of cute little pink aliens.
Hang on, stay with me here.
A group of 5 pink aliens advance toward your cargo.
Hey! I said stay with me.
The point of the game is to simply keep the aliens from stealing your cargo. If they reach it, they carry it back until you fire a light gun into their mouth, sending them flying back to their starting point momentarily. If they grab one of your cargo crates, the game is over. It featured a lot of silly dialogue, inventive gameplay, and very creative design.
So how do you make this into a video game? Well, you take Galaga, mix up the elements, and it becomes, ta-da, Cosmo Gang, the video. And you know, that title is kind of fitting actually, because Super Famicom boxes are actually kind of shaped like VHS cassettes. You do know what VHS tapes are, right?
There isn't much difference from this game to the original Galaga series. It's still a fixed shooter where you advance wave to wave, defeating little aliens that enter the screen until you destroy them all. There are several variations of these aliens, each with a unique ability to them. And in turn, aside from the traditional double fire power-up, which is provided once you defeat the sunglass-wearing boss when he appears, other abilities will show up to your aid, such as shields, a web that slows down enemies, slow-moving bombs, a portal that instantly brushes off incoming enemies, and a surprise jack-in-the-box that startles all the enemies on screen, allowing you the chance to blow them all up. There are 6 worlds, each consisting of 5 stages, or gangs, of aliens to defeat, leading to the extra stage, which is a sprite-based overhead shooter version of the original Redemption game. The same rules apply. It offers a general challenge, but once you lose all your lives in a world, it's back to square one. Luckily, any world you've ventured in before can be selected when you continue. And speaking for the design of the game, the characters look very much like maniacal Sanrio characters, making them very marketable in appearance, although I haven't seen any toys or the like made. Which is a shame, they look very appealing. I would love to get a plush of one of these guys. I also love the music, as it isn't too repetitive and offers a few different tunes as you advance, but it's catchy enough that you'll remember it even when you're not playing. The manual suggests your world is being invaded by a group of mischievous but adorable little aliens known as the Cosmo Gang, led by the evil boss Don Cosmo. You are a untoucha. I don't know, is that short for an untouchable? Yeah, I don't get it. Named Commander Otot Ness, an elite galactic agent sent to, arrest them. And while that's implied in the manual, which I had to have translated, it's not at all evident in the game. Look, the manual even has other characters that are nowhere in the game. How can you do that to me? Comparing this to the arcade version where I first experienced this title, it was in English and carried the voices from the original laser-pointed game.
Okay, you guys, steal energy.
But other than that, the only differences I can tell is the graphics are a lot nicer, and it's not as condensed as the Super Famicom version. That, and it's hard as balls. Oh man, there is a definite difficulty to this. If you are playing this in arcades, say goodbye to about $7 worth of quarters if you really want to see it all the way through. Cosmo Gang only got one other game, and it was a puzzle-based title, which I sadly don't have a copy of. But it's very similar to the Pac-Man puzzle game where you gather up enough aliens in a row for points. It's a shame the Cosmo Gang series had such a short run. The character designs and concepts are very appealing, and I wish we had a greater chance to delve into the world behind it. Wouldn't you love to see a comic with these guys? Or heck, even a cartoon series? But it is a bit difficult to translate games into another medium, especially when the point of it is just shoot the things that are invading. But with some effort, I can see it happen.
Overall, that's Galaga and Cosmo Gang. A fun group of games that are simple, memorable, and enjoyable even by today's standards. And I guess I wanted a chance to finally talk about an import game as, excuse me if these next couple of moments are a bit choppy, as I had to edit out any long periods of silence because I wanted to talk about something very important to me. Is about a month ago, I lost not only a very dear friend of mine, but someone who inspired me greatly to do these videos. In 2012, I had the pleasure of going to MagFest for the first time, and I roomed with Justin Carmical, who was known as JewWario on his program. He gave me this as a gift when I roomed with him, and this is a perler bead of Mega Man, which he made himself. He was quite prolific with it, and he had a bunch of his own, so he made one for me, and I really cherish this to this day. That's why it's always hanging on up there. I say this because last month, you may have heard, or not, that he took his own life. While I knew he was going through a lot of tough things, he was still really positive. I mean, even if he was in trouble, you wouldn't be able to tell. He was so composed, and he was always really happy. He was like the happiest guy. You could go up to him and he'd be like, "Thank you so much," and just the most nicest positive guy he could ever meet. And while that is a very difficult subject, the thing about it is that he always encouraged everyone else. I bring it up because I need to remember what he stood for, and that was always to be encouraging to others. Know that no one is alone. I know I'm sobbing like a baby in front of you because emotions are wonderful things, you know? We can be sad, but we shouldn't let it take us over. And that's why I come to you like this. Know that everything you do, everything you strive for, is important. And what you do for others is important. You watching this video right now, that's important to me. I know it's difficult and it's probably, it might seem pandering or anything, but you have no idea how important little things like that are to anyone. My friends who have all made videos, people who I talk to at work, people I talk to on a regular basis, my friends, my family, they're all important. And we do things for each other because it's important to know that we all have a purpose. And there are bad things everywhere. It's gonna happen. We shouldn't let anything bad get to us because we're not alone. You know, I love all of you who are watching right now. You help support me. And I love talking about creative things and video games and just sharing all around fun. And that's what it's all about. I know this may seem a little long, but I encourage you right now to tell others, other people that you watch, even if you don't feel that they deserve it. It's so important to just tell someone that they're doing a wonderful job. Everyone's different, everyone does different things and what they can change. It's good to encourage people to do new things, to do things that they love. to encourage people to be better at what they want to do. You know, even if it's a little thing like turning off ad block when you watch someone's video, or saying hi to someone on the street, or telling someone on Twitter that you love their work and that they're doing a great job. That's still something. A little thing can seriously go a long way. I leave you with these important words, as he has spoken, and it really bears repeating. You are not stupid. You are important. You mean something. And you're gonna go out there, and you're gonna do some wonderful things. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please check out my other videos. Also, please like, comment, and subscribe. And take a look at my Patreon to find out how to further help support my channel. Just remember that the more views and subscribers, the more I can continue making videos. Thanks again, and see you next time.